Hey, it's Pallavi Kashyap. Welcome to the podcast. Hello and welcome. So, today in this episode, I have with me my very close and dear friend David Fernandez Jr., who's joining us all the way from San Diego, California. A little bio about David. It's very brief. I know they are just four words. I know those four words can't contain him, but just I'll just give it a try. So he is a motivator, he's an actor, he's a director, and he is a producer. So, like I said, these four words are not just what he does. He does quite a lot beyond this. The scope is not just limited to this. But any which ways, so this is what he asked me to, give a brief intro on. So, a very warm welcome to you, David, and thank you for joining me in this podcast. And I hope I did justice to your bio.
Thank you so much for having me. Hey, if I had it my way, I would have just said, a spiritual being in the human experience trying to do the best that he can. That's it. You know?
Yeah, and we are all the same. We are all from the same spirit and doing all the same
Right.
work. Yes, you're right. So here's my first question. Like my introduction, so you wear different hats: a motivator, actor, director. So what resonates to you the most? Like in which role you feel connected the most?
My soul food is connecting with people. My soul food and what I resonate with the most is just connecting with people and having experiences and creating experiences and just being in the present moment and living on this crazy adventure called planet Earth. You know what I mean? Like we're in a body and we get a chance to play, laugh, cry, scream. We get to experience, touch, feel, and all of it. So that's what like makes me feel alive.
So I think I'll say probably your role as an actor, where you get to connect to more people, express more, like you're a creative person from that perspective. I think you are more alive in that particular role that you play. Is that correct?
You know what? I love that. Thank you for noticing that. Oh, that's one of my ways to express my heart and to express my artistry. I'll give you an example. I'm filming right now as we speak, and we're shooting a music video, and this artist, his song is close, very close to his heart. It's about his life and transitioning from the old version to a newer version of himself, moving towards success. And as an artist, I get a chance to represent a character that is symbolic for the old version of himself. And that gets me excited. Anytime I portray a real person, that gets me excited. When I portrayed David Kramer and Selena, that got me excited, especially being able to connect with the real David Kramer and connecting heart to heart, soul to soul. Like I feel like so special because I feel like I got to know Selena in a very intimate way that most people never have experienced through the eyes of David Kramer. So that's the blessing that I get as an actor. And so that's one way of expression, but I have many different ways of expressing. But at the end of the day, like I just love, I just love creating experiences, on many different levels or in many different ways. I love living. Like life is beautiful.
Right, right. So there's so much of hype about this, finding out about life purpose. That way, do you think probably this is your life purpose? Do you think you have already found your life purpose, and do you think you're already in alignment with what you're supposed to or meant to do in this lifetime?
Yeah. So on this journey called life, I've always been a seeker. I've always been a reflective person. I feel a lot. I see and experience through my heart a lot. And so it took me a while to get to this realization and awareness of why I was on this planet this time around. And my purpose is to change my family's generational history. That's the foundation of why I was born and why I'm here. And obviously it gets way deeper than that, but I know that I'm here to shed light. And the only way to shed my light is to continue to get to know myself more and to to be courageous enough to go towards the darkness, to go towards the vulnerability and the stuff that people don't want to see. That's the stuff that intrigues me. That makes me feel alive, because although it can be very scary, it can look very ugly, it can feel, you know what I mean? Yeah. At times confusing, you know, or even lonely at times. Yeah. I know that once I've gone through it, you know, I've walked through it, I've faced whatever I needed to face. It gave me just another beautiful level of awareness, and getting to know myself. And the more that I do that, the more that I go for my biggest dreams, the more that I try to accomplish my biggest goals, through that process, through that journey, it's like the biggest reward in the world, because you're matching different frequencies. You're getting to match different frequencies. And when you accomplish and you match those frequencies, the rewards are so beautiful. And it's really the journey. It's really the experience to get to whatever, you know, dreams or goals you set for yourself, because you get to know you. The only way that you're able to match a different frequency or a higher frequency per se is to, you know, going back to the old version, right? Kind of releasing that old version and stepping into a newer version of yourself. And that to me is exciting. Easier said than done. Sometimes it felt, you know, crazy at times, you know, and hard. But once you get to the other side, it's such a blessing and such a beautiful gift, you know?
After a serious question, I have a very interesting question. So I asked this to all my guests, like, so all of my guests, whoever have been to my podcast, have been like really like very much in the social platform. So they do share their life and, you know, stories revolving around their life. So is there anything that is not mentioned anywhere on any of these platforms? And you, if my podcast becomes the one where you are sharing it first, so is there anything that you have not shared? And if you want to, I mean, it's totally your choice. So,
you know, I'm pretty much an open book when it comes to my heart. And just the last maybe 4 years, 4 to 6 years, I've been getting on social media as well and sharing my heart and just being open and vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? I feel that in my past life experiences, like I've learned that the most beautiful time that I've had on this planet is when I make the ultimate connection with another soul, another spirit, another human being. And that's through vulnerability. That's through creating a safe space to get real with one another. And that's what I learned. So I found, you know, obviously with social media, I found that platform to be able to just be me, just be myself and share my heart, share what I'm going through, my vulnerabilities, whatever. And in that, doing that, I've received so many gifts with so many connections with different people and them connecting with me because of that. Because, you know, we don't do that. That's not something that's normalized to share our feelings or to, you know, to just be open in that way. And I think that may be part of the journey collectively for us to realize that we need each other. We're all one. And the minute that someone's courageous enough to share their heart and soul with somebody else or others, that's where we get reminded of who we are. And we're love. At the end of the day, we're love, you know, love vibration. And that's the most beautiful frequency, you know, because that's what we are. So I just love being in that space, you know. So I'm sorry, to answer your question, if I can share something that I've never shared before, that's a tough one. But I guess what I can say is that I'm a little baby crawling. Like, I don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, all I know is what I've learned through my life experience. And at the end of the day, what I have realized is that if I share my heart, I can't do it wrong. Like, you can't do this thing called life wrong. I know that our mind will try to play tricks on us and will try to, confuse us and distract us or whatever the case is. But when we drop down to our hearts and when we just go inside, because it's always an inside job, right? It's always from within.
Yeah.
The minute that we do that, everything else just kind of fades out. Right. And you get to see to see yourself. And I think that's one thing that I definitely want to continue sharing to the world and try to role model as best as I can. But also in this space, I know there's a lot of perception, and, when people see me as an actor, or whatever the case is, Hollywood has, such an influence around the world. And so they might perceive me as one way, when in reality, everything that I do is to try to show who I really am. And I'm just another person, trying to, learn as much as I can, cultivate as much as I can, and figure it out as best as I can. And so that's all it is. It's like, I'm a little baby learning how to crawl. And hopefully one day I can try to take those first steps to walking. And when I do that, I'll be so darn proud of myself. You know what I mean? And continue on this journey with everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I resonate very much with this being vulnerable part, because I'm not a person who's so open on social media like you are. So I started sharing my stories, and I was, in fact, to be very honest, I was a little hesitant, but once I think the first step is the toughest. After that, it becomes like you build your muscle. And for my first vulnerability share, it was a little taxing, but the kind of connect I made with people was it was a very different experience. And there were people who reached out to me who had probably not spoken to me for over like so many years. There was one friend of mine who messaged me, and we had not spoken for more than, say, 10 years. And he called me. And so I think being vulnerable, showing your true self, first of all, it needs a lot of courage. But at the same time, when you do that, you also feel very free. You feel very open, because like I'm from the energy field, and I know every thought of us take up so much of our energy on all these kind of things that we keep hidden in our in the deeper selves, consume so much of our energy. And we get tired and we feel so lost in this path. So I think that vulnerability, these kind of sharing, it's like it opens our heart, and people see us. And especially if you're into a business, people connect more to you because they see the other side of you, not just the business side of yours. So I very much resonate to what you said in terms of being your true self, showing your true self.
You know what I love in what you just shared. Thank you for sharing that, and mad props to you for stepping into, getting out of your comfort zone and stepping into that courage. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's one thing that I've learned in the different spaces that I've been in, right? Because I've been in the educational field, I'm in the Hollywood industry, I'm in the healing, holistic world, and so on and so forth. And one thing that I think is so beautiful is that we're creatures of habit. We're in the 3-dimensional, right? So our mind is it's the subconscious mind that's running us, right? Mm-hmm. And the minute that we make a conscious effort and we start using our imagination, right? And that's why it's so big for us to use our imagination, because from our imagination, everything has been birthed. Everything you see around you, even to be able to be talking to you from India and I'm in California, somebody used their imagination to create this, and they brought it into physical form, right? And so what I'm saying is that it's so beautiful to use your imagination and to dream big, to think what makes you happy. What would you do that would make you happy? And it wouldn't matter if you got paid, to find that. Because the minute that you start questioning that and you start dreaming and using your imagination, all of a sudden you're forced to step out of your comfort zone. And that's where the magic is. Yep. Stepping out of your comfort zone is where the true magic is. That's where everything is created. Just like what you said right now. You stepped into outside your comfort zone. It was difficult at first, of course, because you're creating a new program, right? Yeah, you're creating a new experience. But when you did it, look at the magic that happened. A friend called you from 10 years ago. You felt like seen, you felt more freer, right?
Yeah.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
That's the secret. That's where the magic is. And that's what I want to continue sharing to the world, because that's what living is. That's being alive. There's nothing wrong with the comfort zone. Nothing wrong. We could always go to our comfort zone, right? Our comfort zone is our home, wherever we feel the most comfortable. But when we step outside of that comfort zone, we have the whole world at our disposal, the whole world to experience, right? So it's a beautiful thing. I love that, because that excites me to talk about that type of stuff, because I'm going through it. So it's exciting. It's like, oh man, like, life.
Yeah,
it's
and
cool.
when you do it once, you feel like, oh, why not? I want to do it again, and it becomes exciting. What was fear once has become exciting and interesting now. So it's good, one step at a time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So David, I have another question. Like, I see you as a leader who can move masses. So, and I've heard many different leaders give different definitions about success. So how do you define success for you, personally for you?
The day-to-day wins.
Right.
So remembering in who I am, that's success for me, because remembering who I am is going to get me in gratitude.
Right.
Remembering who I am, like I'm feeling emotions right now. Okay. It's so deep, and I'm getting goosebumps all over my head. This is beautiful. Remembering that we are so blessed to be in a body, to be experiencing, to be alive, to hug somebody, to feel love, to laugh with somebody, to hold somebody while they're crying and sharing all of their pain. Like everything from A to Z and everything in between. We're so blessed right now. Like we're alive. You know what I mean? Like we get a chance to experience life. I mean, think about it. We're floating on a planet that's in the universe, and we have a sun that gives us life, that's rolling with us, that has never left us. Like, that's crazy. If you really think about it, and we're on this planet, and like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And the duality will always be there. Yeah. It'll always be there. Without the dark, we don't have the light. Without the light, we don't have the dark. But man, all I know is I want to continue to laugh. I want to continue to reach more goals, and to continue to evolve and grow and mess up and fail and get back up again, and fail and see what I got to learn and get back up again. You know what I mean? Like, how much of a blessing is that? So I don't even know if I answered your question. I don't even care. All I'm saying is that, like,
daily wins
to
is
remember
your answer. Yeah.
Success. Yeah. To remember who I am.
Right.
Because when I remember who I am, and it's what continues to take me wherever it's supposed to take me.
Right.
And today it took me here with you, to get a chance to share my heart with you and your audience. And for anyone that's listening out there, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for following this beautiful soul right here, because she's amazing. She's awesome. She's another fellow light worker that's putting in her work and sharing her light to the world. So, like, mad respect, and I honor you, Pallavi, for doing what you do. And there's one thing I'm gonna share with you. We through our friendship, we've realized, right, that we're kind of opposites in a lot of ways. And I admire you for your organization and your structure and the foundation that you have. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's powerful. Like, that's a powerful gift that I wish I had more of, and I have to work on that. You know what I mean? But just know that, like, it's all part of the
learning process.
Yeah,
evolving.
exactly. So yeah.
I read about you somewhere that you consider love as your religion. Can you share something on that?
Yeah. So for me, I feel myself very spiritual. But I feel that love is what I focus on. So love isn't even my religion. I won't even call it like religion. I would just say that love is what I focus on. And love has taken me to also the darkest places. Like,
Right.
I'll explain what I'm talking about. So in when I say spiritual, this is what I'm talking about. I had to do a lot of inner child healing.
Mm.
When I was going through the toughest time of my life, because I never dealt with my mind, and a year and a half ago, you already know I dealt with anxiety and panic attacks. And as a matter of fact, we did a healing session, and it was so powerful and so beautiful. So thank you for that, because that led me towards my healing. And so this is what happened. I finally surrendered. Because I was resisting it and fighting it so much, right? Because I was scared. I was in fear vibration. And when I surrendered, I experienced love. But this is how I experienced it. I closed my eyes, I got on my knees, and I was crying because I didn't know how to deal with what I was dealing with when it came to the anxiety and the panic attacks. And when I got on my knees and I closed my eyes and started crying, I somehow got transported to a dark room. And in that dark room, I walked in that dark room. And this is all happening as I'm on my knees crying, closing my eyes, because I asked for healing. All right. Yeah. In the corner on the other side of the room, it was my 5-year-old self. And he was scared. He was a 5-year-old little boy that has always been inside of me. And so I try to walk towards him and try to comfort him, right? And he was scared to touch me. He was scared for me to get close. And so somehow I created another 5-year-old self, and I told him, go over there and hug him and tell him that he's okay, that he's not in danger anymore, that he doesn't have to be afraid, and that he's good enough, and that he deserves everything, ultimately love. When that 5-year-old self went over there and they hugged, it was like a feeling of bliss. It was a feeling of like forgiveness and healing and love, and a lot of like weight being released. Yeah, it was just energy was released, and forgiveness kept showing up. And I just started repeating, I forgive myself, I forgive myself, I forgive myself. And you don't have to be afraid anymore. And so that's what I believe in. Love led me there.
Yeah, sorry, I interrupted. So was it like...
No, it's okay. I was just saying love led me there, you know?
Yeah, so that's kind of like different modalities have different ways. We have something similar, but we don't call it an inner child healing. So we just recollect like from say 0 to 10 years from the time we were born. Do you have any of those memories? If you have certain similar memories where you felt like you needed help, or you were in a very bad situation or whatever. So we just try to go back to that area. And for us, everything is energy. It could have been a very deep, dense, dark energy that got stuck. So we have to go back to our past to release it, remove it, or whatever. So it's something similar. We just call it energy. For us, everything is energy clearing, energy block, So yeah.
Got it. Well, I'll tell you this. This is the what happened at the very end of all that whole experience, right? Is in the back of my neck, in the back of my head.
Right.
This is real. This is what I experienced. There was like a group of like 8 to 11 people, women and men, applauding and cheering me on.
Ooh.
And I spoke to my mentor about that. And what he told me was that it could have been my ancestors. And when I really sat in that space, I can say it was my ancestors. And I think that's a part of the whole generational trauma and healing and changing my whole family generational history, is that we're not alone in this. You know what I'm saying? Right. Yeah, we're in the 3-dimensional experience right now, but in the spirit world, in the 5-dimensional, we have beautiful people that are holding us and taking care of us and guiding us as well. And I think that the more that we continue to go inside of ourselves and in our heart, the more we're able to tap into that. And yeah, I thought that was a beautiful symbolic and a beautiful way of realizing that we're not alone. We're never alone.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So it's some
yeah,
kind of a generational curse also that kind of got addressed,
yeah,
and you finished that pattern or whatever was continuing from generations.
yeah.
Bravo.
Yay! Thank you so much.
Uh,
I know for some people they'll be like, "What the heck, David? What's going on?" But
exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm keeping it real. You know, I'm just sharing what I really experienced. Like, yeah, it was beautiful, and it's just part of my journey.
Right, right. You mentioned about like your mentors or teachers. Like I have my spiritual guru who's not in the physical form. Like, who do you follow in your spiritual world, or even let's say business?
Yeah, so I haven't tapped into the spiritual side yet. I guess maybe I'm not there yet, or I'm not ready completely. I've had those experiences and those type of experiences in my life, but I'm not tapped in yet.
Mm.
Um, but on the physical, well, I will say this: ever since I was a kid, I always felt like I was protected. I
Mhm.
always felt like a sense of like someone's taking care of me.
Mhm.
So that's on the spiritual side. But on the physical side, uh, Rich and Yvonne St. John Dutra from the organization Challenge Day and Be the Change Movement, they I went to live with them um, when I was 29 years old, and they changed my life. I called out for that chapter that I needed, and I lived with them, and we went in there. We kept going towards whatever we needed to go move towards, or whatever, and they really shifted my path. And so they've always been there. They're doing amazing work around the world. Around the world, I mean, Oprah Winfrey's highlighted them. Tony Robbins been wanting to work with them. Like, they're just amazing souls. And so I consider them my mentors, because they're like beautiful souls. Like Miss Yvonne, like when she looks at you, like you can't hide, because it's just all love that she's looking through. You know what I mean? When
Mm.
she's looking at you, it's all love, and you can't hide. And I think that's so beautiful, because she makes you feel so safe, celebrated, and comfortable. And she walks the walk as well. She walks the walk. She's the one that taught me how to session, and how to go towards the spaces we're afraid to go to, or whatever, and so on and so forth. So yeah, they're my mentors. And then I had another mentor when I was like 9 years old, and that was my little league coach, Mr. Hacker, and he transitioned already. But I had a tough upbringing growing up, very very unhealthy. My parents had a lot of healing to go through, and I got exposed to a lot of stuff.
Mm.
And my little league coach, he showed me a different world. When I was playing baseball, I felt like a kid again, because at home I wasn't able to be a kid. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
like, he was my first mentor, and I think that's why I have such a passion and heart for supporting people, because I'm paying it forward.
Who do you draw your inspiration from? So I'm just kind of trying to go back, and the series of coaches and mentors you have, probably you have a joint kind of inspiration, drawing your inspiration from all of them, or do you have anybody in particular?
I love listening to the masters. I know that I resonate with Tony Robbins a lot. Um, but I listen to all of them. But right now, these last 2 years, 3 years, I really focused on Bob Proctor.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the self
And he
development
lied
and
to me. I'm gonna tell you, he lied to me. He said
about,
he was barely starting in his life. He said he had so much time to go,
I know.
and it was, unfortunately, it was his time to go. And I love him so much. Like, he's the one that got me. He shed light on the darkness when it came to my anxiety and panic attacks, and he saved my life, man. He saved my life, and I hope that I can pay it forward for him too. With all the people that are meant to cross my path, because he is truly a beautiful soul, and he's still here. He's still putting in work. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, I think so what I understand and what I learned from my spiritual books is the spiritual teachers who have left their body, you can still tune into their energies. You can, if you deeply, call out for them, they're there. So probably,
I love that.
probably you can also reach out to Bob, because he had a spiritual side in him. So it's just that
Yeah.
physically you will not see him, but if you are tuned into him, so my piece of not a
Hey, who knows? He might be a month old right now and came back and was born again. You never know. He just got a new body.
that's also true, possibly.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. So, what are the? Now, I know you're a very positive guy. But again, this positivity is we have to daily work on it. So, what are the three practices that keep you positive? Because we meet all kinds of people every day. Some people can really pull you down. So, how do you stay in that zone?
Well, for your audience, what I'd love to share really quick is that, and this isn't from me, this is from whoever masters from the past, but what you focus on will grow. What you water will grow. So where your attention goes, the energy flows, right? We've heard all of that, right? But it's so important, especially right now with the
Mm,
transition that we're going through, the shift that we're going through on this planet and all of that. You
mm,
have to focus on the you have to
the-
focus on you, meaning what I do to remind me and focus on the positive stuff is gratitude.
mm,
Gratitude is the biggest for me. The minute that you focus on gratitude, it brings you right back to the
mm,
present.
mm,
Your mind can't go to the future because it's focused on being grateful for what you have in that present moment, you
mm,
know?
mhm.
And our mind loves to go to the future. Our mind sometimes gets stuck in the past, and it's
True.
doing what it's supposed to do. It's thank your mind for doing it, what it's doing, what it's supposed to do, right? But gratitude is what helps me stay focused and reminded. Another thing is videos. Like
Yeah.
you have to be very aware and conscious of what you're putting into your body, into
Mm,
your aura, your spirit, your energy.
true. True.
And so I've created a habit now where I don't even think twice about it. I'll hop anytime I get into my car, I'm putting on a Bob Proctor video, Tony Robbins video. I'm popping in Pallavi, you know what I'm saying, and listen to her talk on Instagram, or whatever. But I'm embodying all that positive information because it's like I'm reprogramming my subconscious mind,
Yeah.
and I'm just feeding myself that positivity. So that's why I think it's easy now because I've developed those new habits and patterns and created a new paradigm where that's what I see. Because you got to remember, our eyes only see 2% because our brain's protecting us. Because if it showed us what we really saw, we would be overwhelmed. That's the truth. So, and in reality, think about it. What do we really see with
Eyes.
our third eye,
Oh.
our spirit? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we see what we see, but this plays tricks on us. It'll play tricks on us. So what I'm talking about is you feed the subconscious mind,
Mm,
then you put on different lenses. And when you put on different lenses, all of a sudden it's called the reticular activating system, right? Tony Robbins talks about this all the time. You'll start picking out all the positive things. So
mm,
if you, once again, what you focus on will grow. So if you start getting into a habit and pattern of everything is positive, you're reading positive information, you're watching positive videos, you're listening to music that elevates and changes your state of mind and your vibration, then all of a sudden, before you know it, it's going to become automatic. So then when I'm looking through the lenses, I'm looking through the lenses of positivity. A lot of people always tell me, how are you so positive, David? How are you so positive? And you know what I tell them? Because I've seen the darkness. I've been there.
mm.
So I choose to focus on the beautiful stuff in life. See, you got to understand, even all the news stations, right?
Right.
All the news stations around the world are owned by six companies, six families, six companies, whatever.
Yeah.
Why is it that we are just seeing all the 1 or 2% negative of life when you have 98% of so much beauty happening in the world? People are saving animals, saving children, working with human trafficking, doing all kinds of stuff to make this world better following their hearts and following their passion and their purpose. And we rarely see this. Why are we showing that? Because it has an impact on us.
Right.
It has an impact. You know, we can go to those scientific tests that have been done where you get 2 jars of water or 2 jars of rice and 1 jar of rice for 1 week. You just give it love. You're focused on love and positivity, and you're always such beautiful water or rice, whatever. And then that other jar, you talk shit and you excuse my language, but you say negative things and hate and whatever. What happens?
Yeah.
That water that you gave love to, it's like perfect, crystallized. It's divine. It's beautiful. The one that you put energy and hate towards is moldy and dirty and nasty.
Yeah.
That tells us everything. That's how powerful we are. That's how beautiful and great we are. We have the power to uplift or to destroy, to create or to destroy. I choose to create.
Right.
So anything that I have to do to create. And imagine if everyone started doing that.
Absolutely.
This world would get
Heaven
this
on
world
earth.
would vibrate. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It would be but you know, that's part of the journey though. That's part of the journey. And you know, it's just time, you know, it's just time. But yeah.
That was a learning for me as well. I didn't know it constituted, the good part constituted 98%. I didn't know it was that big number. I thought it's probably lesser. But yeah, like you rightly said, negativity is so much highlighted and positivity gets no space in, let's say, a newspaper or in the channels. So yeah. So I think
Think about it. Just think about it, Pallavi. Check this out. They're showing us 100% of the 2% bad part of humanity, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
100% of that 2%.
Yep.
That other 98% is all around us. And we have the power to choose and create and be a part of that 98%. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, like I said, it's part of the journey. But yeah, like think about the impact it has on people that are glued and seeing the news every day. We have to be aware that like anyone that tells a story, there's 4, 5, 6, 7 different sides to the story. Yeah. So we're never going to get accurate information. Then you got to wonder about the agenda of what information is being put out, the reasoning is why. To me, it doesn't make sense. Why would we focus on the negative when we have so much more positive? But that's just me. You know what I'm saying? Once again, it's just part of us collectively, of the collective journey for us to raise that awareness and then do something about it. You know what I mean? But the beautiful thing about it, even with social media, like you, for example, what are you doing? You're spreading light and love and information. So it's happening all over the place.
Yeah, we are doing whatever we can in our capacities.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And we're a big ripple in that ocean.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, people who want to connect to you or who are in the same frequency, they vibrate and they do connect. And for the ones who are still not there, I think it's not the time.
Right.
That's how I'd say.
Yeah. It's just part of the journey, individually and collectively or whatever. Yeah.
David, one virtue for you that's not negotiable, non-negotiable rather.
Say it again.
One virtue that's not non-negotiable for David Fernandez.
Kids, hurting kids.
Okay.
That's a big one for me. That's a big one for me.
Violence.
Yeah, just this is what if we were to have to put language to it, which is, this is not a good analogy, but let's say if we had an enemy, it would be the consciousness that knows better and that hurts and that causes pain and that destroys. And they're fully aware of what they're doing. The intention behind it is malice. That's what I don't resonate with that at all. You know what I'm saying? Because everyone makes mistakes. People aren't aware, whatever. But it's that very small percentage that are very aware and they're utilizing that information not for good, not to make this world a better place. And that's what I'm not down with.
So are you involved in projects like to take care of these kind of kids?
I've worked with kids my whole life. Ever
Okay.
since I was 19 years old. Yeah, I've worked with so many nonprofit organizations, so many companies. The Challenge Day, Be the Change movement, they're working with kids all over the world. So yeah, definitely. I've always, that's another thing that I've always worked with is kids. And I love it because kids are, when we get older, we're harder to, we get stubborn and stuck in our ways as adults. You know what I'm saying? And with kids, they're still open. And when they resonate with something that's real, that's
Mhm.
from the heart, they'll listen.
Mhm.
We don't do enough of that with kids. We just talk to them, talk down to them or talk to them, when in reality they could be teaching us so much. They are our teachers.
Right. Right.
They are our teachers. Think about it. When a 5-year-old little kid is angry, what does he do? He gets on the ground and he pouts and he punches a little floor and he cries or whatever. And then a minute later, he's playing again.
Yeah.
As adults, when we get angry,
Yeah.
we don't get on the ground and pout. We don't release. We keep it inside. And
Oh.
that's poison. That'll, it'll manifest into other stuff. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? Whether it's, uh, hating somebody for years, or
Yeah.
not talking to your brother for years, or, how many stories do we hear that family members fight and they never talked again, and or whatever the case is. It's like we got to listen, we got to watch the kids and learn from them, because we have to release that energy doesn't serve us. you know
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So I'm a big protector of kids. And all, obviously for me, it's because growing up, I didn't have that protection. So I'm a very aware and empathetic for kids that don't have, can't protect themselves. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
yeah,
Another question I have: the most difficult challenge you had, and what was your learning, or what was a lesson from that?
the whole panic and anxiety and
Okay.
going through that, I think that was one of the most challenging. I lost a son too when I was
Mm.
21. That was a huge obstacle and challenge, and knowing how to heal at 21 years old. I didn't know how.
Mm.
But I think the lesson that I've learned from that is forgiveness. Once again, it goes back to forgiveness, forgiving myself, because I thought that some way, somehow it was my fault. I took responsibility in that way, and obviously it didn't serve me. But even with the panic attack and anxiety attacks, until I surrendered, until I faced it, the lessons showed up. So I guess that's the best way that I can answer your question is whatever you resist,
Person.
that's what you need to look at. That's what, yeah. Well, whatever you resist will persist, and it'll
Mm.
persist until you surrender and face whatever you need to face.
So I'm
That's the
taking
truth.
surrendering as a lesson.
Yes. So surrendering and just being open, like getting out of your own way, because we're the ones that create the problems. We're the ones that create everything in our life. So just getting out of our own way and opening up enough to receive whatever you're supposed to receive to continue moving forward. You know what I'm
Which is
saying?
which is why you often tell me surrender for any situation that I'm in. If I get into any sort of not trouble, but any
Yeah.
road that looks blocked, you just say surrender. Probably that's what you've picked up from that challenge or that
Yeah.
situation from your life. Uh,
Yeah.
I
One thing I'll say to touch on that and to kind of summarize all of it is that, and I'll continue to share it. The mind is the trickster. It's the ego, right? The heart is love. It's our spirit. It's our true essence. And I think that sometimes for a lot of people, we think that our thoughts are us, when in reality they're not. You know what I'm saying? And so we get stuck in our heads, and we because the ego will try to have this illusion of control. You know what I mean? And those are the lessons that we learn in through our process, right? Is that when we surrender, we get out of our head, we surrender. I don't have control. I don't
Yeah.
have the answers. I don't know what to do, right?
Yeah.
Then we go down to our heart, and our heart leads us in the direction that we need to go to.
When you also mentioned, when you had to deal with anxiety and all of these things, I remember like one of the sessions we had was through pranic healing. And likewise, I also know that you get attracted to all these healing modalities, not the Western stuff, not the Western medicine. So I just wanted to know why you choose the alternative healing modalities, or why do you get attracted there? I know it's a personal choice, but I'm sure something must have led you to, follow this path. And I also know, I remember you also had invested in some business of yours, which also deals with a lot of health supplements, which are also very naturally picked up from the forest and processed and all of that. So you have been attracted towards the natural side. So can you tell us something about that?
Yeah, so I come from Pai Pai. My grandmother's Pai Pai, Native American, and it's an extension of Kumeyaay Nation, so the indigenous people. Right. And so I've been a part of a lot of ceremonies and sweat lodges, purification ceremonies, and I really connect with Mother Earth. She gives us everything that we need. And so I think that's why I lean towards the Eastern philosophies, and also just more natural and just connected to the ground, connected to Mother Earth. You know what I mean? When you look at, I'll tell you an example. When I did a little hike and I ended up on a little pond, I saw the little frogs and the birds and the fish and the turtles, and everybody's working in cooperation. And I think that we can learn so much from nature. If we all work in cooperation, we will continue to create abundance, because Mother Earth is abundant. You know what I'm saying? But we have to work in cooperation. Win-win for everybody,
Yeah, working in cooperation. But I think that's how we were actually built to, live. We are not powerful, but we are supposed to, because everybody is contributing, or everybody has a role to play in our lives. So just being a human being does not mean like we are superior to the animals, or we are superior to all the other creatures around. So that's where probably we lose it. We lose the game. Yeah, so
I agree 100%. Yeah. So that's it. I just resonate with nature, Mother Earth. I resonate with my indigenous just my roots. But I also have a lot of faith. I just faith is big for me, in the sense of just trusting in my heart and our intuition. I think our intuition, our spirit, will lead us in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? So just continuing to do that. But yeah, I do resonate with Eastern way more than Western. And I also believe that, Western has its place too. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I connect more to just the spirituality, to nature. That's where my heart is.
Yeah, I had this question of, I know you're working on a lot of projects. If it is possible to share any of your very close to heart projects that you're working on, and, which will also help people around. Yeah.
Yeah. So earn your life. That's what I live by, right? I want to earn it. It's, I want to, and earn it means a lot, just to be the best person you can be, and create the best life that I can create, right? And that's all about giving back to people. So Earn Your Life podcast is a platform that I interview amazing guests, and just ask them to be vulnerable and open and real, and they share their hearts on the podcast. I also have a Earn Your Life app. That was my way of giving back to the world. It's a free app where it's just, I captured all the golden nuggets of the masters, and there's a bunch of positive quotes, and the podcast is connected to that as well. So all in one there. But I have that. I'm working on a book. I have a children's book for kids. I through my acting, I got two stories to tell. One story is a short film that I'm going to be working on soon. It's going to be powerful. And then the big film that I'm working on, and that's going to take years, but when it's ready to happen, it's going to happen. And then, I think at the end of the day, just I try to put myself out there and put my heart out there as best as possible. You know what I mean? And wherever I can support, I will. And that's it.
Yeah, my last question is, David, how do you want to be remembered as? I know you're working so much and doing so much for others, and I'm sure people will remember you. But if you have to leave a legacy behind, or if what is the way, or how do you want to be remembered as?
Love.
Just one word. Powerful,
Yeah.
most powerful, and from where everything comes, actually. Good one. And yeah, so how do people reach out to you, David? Where are you most active? And for whatever projects you're working on, if anybody wants to connect to you. So what I know you're, I think, available in mostly all of the platforms. So, but where are you most active?
I think Instagram, also my podcast and my app as well. I think that's where I do. So just look up Earn Your Life podcast and Earn Your Life app on Android and iPhone. And then you can just kind of Google David Fernandez Jr. You'll see a lot of the movies and TV shows that I've done, and everything that I got. It's out there on the internet. You know what I mean? So you can check it out or whatever. But
And
I think on Instagram is where I'm most active, where I try to connect with people and chat with people, and just I post. I always post if you want to uh, have somebody that has all positivity on their newsfeed, on their story. Follow me, and you'll get a daily dose of positivity. And sometimes I'll make you laugh or whatever. But yeah, laughter and positivity you'll see on my stories.
yeah, I vouch for that. Yeah. And Earn Your Life is a free app, right? You didn't mention that.
Yeah,
It's
free app. I'm not monetizing nothing. I just wanted to give back, and just it's just an app that you can click on, and if you want to see a positive quote, there's hundreds of them, and a positive video from the masters. There's short little videos, 1 minute videos. I captured the golden nuggets. You can click on that, or you can listen to my podcast.
all right. Thank you so much, David, for all the value that you provided. I'm sure somebody who's listening to this podcast will surely at least take home some of the nuggets. If not anything, then at least love, so much of love that oozes out of you every time. And yeah, I've been in touch with David for almost more than a year, I guess. And every word that David says is who he is. It's whatever he said, whatever he spoke about is what he is all about. So, and he is a very busy person. I really had to, like a secretary, I had to be behind him to get his time to be on this podcast. So yeah, once I really want to thank you for your time, because I know you could have been doing so many other things, or if not anything else, you would have, I think it's late there in your country. So yeah, you would have slept by now. So thank you so much for your time. It was lovely having you here.
Well, I just want to say thank you to you too for everything that you do and everything that you're doing. Thank you so much from the bottom
Thank
of my
you.
heart. Keep shining, girl. Keep shining.
Yeah, thank you.